Mosh Pit Passion, for the passion of music.
Herzlich willkommen hier bei Mosh Pit Passion auf YouTube. Ich bin der Kario, mein heutiger Gast, der hat leider ein paar Internetprobleme. Daher kriegt ihr hier in Anführungszeichen nur einen Audiomitschnitt, aber das ist kein Problem. Guckt einfach mal unten auf den Button, Übersetzungsbutton. Dort könnt ihr das ganze Gespräch und Interview auch in Deutsch nachverfolgen. Daher nicht wundern, wenn ich jetzt ins Englische umwechsel, denn heute hier zu Gast Dez Fafara von Coal Chamber und von DevilDriver. Nice to have you here at my YouTube channel, Mosh Pit Passion YouTube channel. How are you doing? And yeah,
I'm doing fine, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. And again, sorry I can't get on video. My Wi-Fi where I'm at right now is not going to support that. So I appreciate you having me on today.
thank you very much also. And my first question is also a serious question because I'm a follower of your social media. And yeah, I saw a couple years ago that your wife had some health issues you had last year or during the pandemic time, some health issue. And yeah, how are you both doing?
Thank you very much for asking. Yes, my wife went through cancer surgeries and came out great. Survivor and, the pillar of our family. So, thank God that all went well for her. And it's why we tore down touring in late 2019 or early 2020. Then the pandemic hit. And then for people who don't know, late 2021, I caught COVID and almost died. Actually was at the point saying goodbye to my family. And thankfully, because of, doctors in hazmat suits and everything else, I survived. So our family is healthy and alive. And this is the best news I could possibly give. Everything else is secondary at that point,
Definitely. And glad that you both and your family are back strong. And what I also saw that you wrote some kind of comment or post a couple of months or weeks ago that, for instance, because of your health condition, you can't travel now to Europe or in general, to Europe because of your, how do you call it? Is it some kind of not after COVID? How do you say long COVID?
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, a lot of people lost a lot of family members. So my heart goes out to anybody who lost anybody from this disease around the world. Okay. I'm just lucky to survive. What happened was because I smoke a lot of cannabis, I avoided it going inside of my lungs. So you can do research where if you smoke cannabis, it stopped what is called cytokine storms that COVID hits your lungs. It didn't go into my lungs. It went into my heart. What had happened is they had told me that they wanted to do heart surgery on me, put a stent in my heart. And I said, no, I'm very holistic. And I actually found a drink from India. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. So what I'm going to say is what I did for me. And it was from India and it's a heart flush. And it's fresh ginger, turmeric, garlic, honey, apple cider vinegar, lemons. You peel it all down. You blend it all down. You put it in a big pot, you boil it way down, you put it in 6 ounces jar, you drink it every morning on an empty stomach. I told my doctor, no, I'm not going into heart surgery. And he said, I want you in heart surgery next week. And I said, no, I'll see you in 2 months. And he said, if you're alive, I'll see you in 2 months. So I began to drink this drink. And I would say 3 months later, I went back in. They shot nuclear dye in me. They put me in a machine, a heart machine. They did the imaging. They found out that I indeed cleared my heart from long COVID. The only thing that was left is a tiny bit of inflammation in the lower part of my heart, which prevents me from taking long plane flights at very high altitude. So an hour flight, maybe 3, fine. But any longer than that in altitude can cause blood clotting, can cause me to die. So I have to wait until that's really cleared out. Now, I haven't been since tour. From the way I was performing on the last tour in the United States with the co-headline run with Cradle of Filth, I think I'm well. I feel like I'm 20 years old. I mean, I was skateboarding last night till 10 o'clock at night, bombing hills outside my house. I feel better than I ever have. So I have another checkup in February of next
Mm.
year, which actually we may move now to December this year, so I can see if I can book something. Although people need to know, if you're going to book festivals for next year, you have to start
Mm.
now. So if I get the okay to travel in December of this year, I'm not going to be able to come over and do it next year. It'll have to be 2025, but I'm not going to take any chances. So that's the long answer to the short question. I'm healthy. My wife is
Mm.
healthy. I found something that cleared out my heart holistically. Um, you know, it's. I want to say funny, but it's not funny. It's funny to hear a doctor of medicine actually say, "Good thing you smoke cannabis, or it would have gone into your
Yeah.
lungs." Right. So yeah, that's where I'm at now, and every day is a gift. Every day I wake up, first thing I do before I open my eyes or grab my phone and say, thank you very much for taking a breath. I thank the universe. And every night before I go to bed, I give my wife a kiss, hold her hand and say, thank you for today. Today was a gift. And that's just where I'm at. I'm living day to day at this point.
Mm.
And much like Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner, like I want more life,
Mm.
fucker, you
Yeah,
know?
definitely. Definitely good to hear that. And what I found interesting, that you are running besides Coal Chamber and besides DevilDriver also different businesses, like your own management company, or you got also an own brand company with Randy from Lamp of God. And what happened actually to your different businesses? Yeah, when you wasn't more or less able to handle that.
Well, what was great was, sure, yeah, we have the Oracle Management. It's a huge company. We have Ginger, Cradle of Filth, DevilDriver, Wednesday 13, Coal Chamber, 69 Eyes, Exodus. I could,
Yeah, yeah.
we have great bands. We actually just picked up this morning from the UK, Kill the Lights. Um, there's just what happened there is it's a family business. So Anastasia's the CEO. She's a manager. I'm a manager. I have three sons. My middle son is also a manager and a head assistant of all of
Mm.
us. Plus, I have two other assistants. And so when I was down, and I mean really down, like for 3 months, sleeping all day, couldn't get on the phone, couldn't even look at emails. They all covered me. All of our artists stayed
Mm.
working, or not working because it was during the pandemic. But we kept them going by either releasing different
Mm.
things, or and then yes, we have Sun Cult, which is if you're not familiar over here, Zoomies is a huge clothing line. Zoomies is a huge clothing company. It's in all the malls over here, so we're in almost 700 Zoomies stores. Also going into Tilly's. So Sun Cult, my son Caleb runs that. Is the head manager of that. That was doing well.
Yeah.
Um, what I found myself doing, I love to day trade as well. I'm a day trader for stocks and for
Mm.
crypto. The one thing that I was doing, because of COVID, it was waking me up at like 3, 4, 5 in the morning for some
Mm.
reason. I would get on my computer for a half an hour and lay in my bed, and I would day trade
Mm.
Dogecoin and Bitcoin and all this other stuff. But my company stayed together because my family is so
Mm.
tight, and we run everything as a family
Mm.
business.
Wow. That's definitely cool to hear that your family is
Yeah.
also involved in all kind of stuff. And what I really like is, actually, you're the first musician who is also talking about stocks and crypto, and because also I'm also invested in crypto. And my question to this: did you buy the dip around November, December when Bitcoin was very low?
Oh, I was into Bitcoin and Dogecoin years and years and years
Mm.
ago. So I was into Dogecoin when it was 0.1. You know, I mean, I was into Bitcoin when it was, nothing,
Mm.
nothing. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
but this is, so say you're a musician and say you're listening to
Yeah.
me, right? From the very start of my career with Coal Chamber, I took 15% of whatever I made. So if I made $100, I took $15 and I put it into stocks, I put it into bonds, and I've been doing that for 28 years. So it's one of the reasons why I'm wealthy. It's one of the reasons I could have left the industry,
Mm.
years and 10 years ago easily and just retired. But what am I going to do? My grandfather retired when he was 52 and he died 4 months later. So I do music because I love it. I travel because I love it. I run businesses because I love them. You have to be passionate and in love with what you do. I mean, you do a podcast. If you didn't like what you do, you wouldn't do it. So, my thing to everybody is do what you love. And yes, I did buy more of the dip. And I'm waiting for Bitcoin to go to 150, 200,000, which I think it's going to do. I think we're going to hit $1, $2 with Dogecoin in the next 12, 13, 15 months. Disclaimer, this is not financial advice.
Very important.
But look, if you want to learn side hustle, get up at 4 a.m. and from 4 to 6, 7 a.m. start trading crypto and make your family a couple $1,000s by the time they wake up. I mean, you have to be fiscally responsible in this life. Otherwise, in the middle or at the end of this life, you end up with nothing, right? So I think that's another thing to be said.
That's definitely a great mindset. And unfortunately, our time is limited. Maybe in the future we get the chance to talk again. When you come in 2 years to Germany, we'll definitely talk in depth about that. So I will jump into our next chapter. But there's unfortunately more or less one question which is Coal Chamber related, because I saw a couple of months ago there was an ongoing discussion about a vinyl reissue, and you did a post something like which was about something is coming this May when it comes to Coal Chamber and vinyl. Next month or maybe next week there is the May month ongoing. And
right. Well. There. All I can say about that is there is a big reissue coming.
Ooh, yes.
With many partners, and I'm very excited about it. And again, the Coal Chamber thing, I don't think would have happened if oddly enough, if I hadn't almost died from COVID. They just started to call me daily. We had long conversations with each other for almost a year before anybody said, should we do a show? And I said, at first I said, I'd rather just remain friends with you guys. But instead of doing a show and perhaps ruining that friendship. But the fact is, everybody's grown up. Everybody has their shit together. And there's no reason why we shouldn't go out and do some shows. So yes, there's shows coming. We're doing a tour with Mudvayne in front of 20, 25,000 seaters a night, 18 to 20,000 seaters in amphitheaters in July. And then yes, we have a reissue coming that I cannot wait for people to see. I handpicked the vinyl colors. I went over all of the script inside everything, and it's I think it's going to be fantastic. And look, it's needed at this point in time right now. I think there's a lot of Coal Chamber fans out there that are going to be going to get this box set.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a huge vinyl collector. I got here the first 6 records of DevilDriver.
Yeah,
also.
Man, I see that. Yeah, I see that, bro. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm a big vinyl collector. I have over 300 records, and I actually have a 1972 vintage Panasonic stereo system, right? Like straight out of the 70s, but it sounds amazing. And I love vinyl. Actually, on Saturdays, Anastasia and I do what we call Music Saturdays, and like from 10 to 3, like that's all we do. We play our own bands that have new music they want us to hear, and then vinyl that we pick up throughout the week because we're big vinyl collectors too. So yeah, I see that behind you, man. Much fucking respect, brother.
And what I want to talk about before we go finally into dealing with demons is also that the prices for vinyl are rising. For instance, the new Metallica records is about $50 here in Germany. Rammstein are re-releasing their second record. It costs about $65, just double vinyl. And I want to know your point of view about that, because if I'm a band and I'm getting older and the fans getting older, but I don't want to stick to old fans, want to gain new fans and younger fans. They maybe are interested in vinyl also, but they are maybe a little bit afraid of the price range, and they are like, I skip vinyl, I don't want it, and just stick to Spotify or streaming. And
right.
What is your let me say point of view that kind of like, all right, guys, we have to find some kind of solution about that the price range may go down, that younger people can buy records or...
So let me speak to you as a musician and as a businessman. Okay? So walking that fine line, let me tell you exactly what's happening with that. There are very few record printing plants. Those record printing plants are 8, 9, 10 months out with orders. Most of the, obviously, what makes vinyl is an oil component. So you're dealing with that as well. And as the prices of that shoot up, obviously petroleum that's what vinyl is, right? So it is not, absolutely not. Now, I can't speak for Metallica at a $65 record. I can't speak to that. I can speak to $40, $50 records. That is an average price at this point right now because of the way that vinyl plants are backed up all around the world. And keep in mind, I deal with 3 different vinyl plants. One is in Austria, and 2 of them are in the United States. And they're all 10, 11, 12 months out.
Crazy.
On their vinyl. Yes, it's crazy. So, and I don't think it's the vinyl plants themselves marking it up. And I will say this for all of the bands, it is not the bands marking it up. I think it's the labels marking it up because the labels are having to pay these huge prices to get vinyl done and vinyl printed. So it is no one else's fault besides the inflation, petroleum, and the vinyl plants being so locked up. That's just the way that it goes. Now, let me tell you where I think a record should sit, right? Vinyl record should sit between $18 and $22. That's where a vinyl record should sit. But unfortunately, it's double and triple in the case of Metallica. So, yeah, it's a sad thing to see, but we have to do it. I mean, I'll say this as well. The same tour bus that you used to take for $350 a day is $750. The same driver for that tour bus that was $250 is $550. The same gas that was $700 to fill up the tank of the tour bus is now $1,200 to $1,500. The hotels that were $120, $200 on nice hotels are now $350, $400.
What?
The especially here in the United States, because now we play the European game when it comes to drivers in tour buses. We used to be able to drive 8, 9, 10 hours. Of course, is it unsafe? Yeah, it's fucking unsafe, but get us there, right? And some of the drivers do it. Now we can't do that. They now installed the cards that they have overseas, which you can only go 6 hours, or excuse me, 600 miles. And once you go 600 miles, you have to stop for 10 hours. And now what? You need hotels. The generator needs to run to put electricity into the bus so you have power. The generator is running for 10 hours. How much does that cost? That's another $300 a day. Everything has tripled. Visas have doubled. Plane flights have doubled. And it's difficult. Like I said this to Anastasia yesterday in a meeting, actually, with 2 other managers. I said, what are younger bands going to do?
Yeah.
Like how the fuck are they going to survive? How, like, if you're a band that is making $200 a night and you got to get in a van and you've got to drive 5, 6, 7 hours to the next show. First of all, that $200 is not going to get you food or gas or pay for the van or the trailer. So how are these young bands going to survive? And we here at the Oracle actually just picked up a band that's just starting now, and the way they survive is you go to the label and say, hey, we need help. And if they say, well, we don't offer tour support, well, then it's done. It's done. So this vinyl pricing topic also goes into this touring topic. And I think you just see everything around the world rising, and it's a very difficult, hard time. I mean, look how many bands have canceled coming to Europe in the last 6 months.
Anthrax,
for
instance, now
look
Machine had the US tour yesterday or something like that.
Fucking A. Anthrax. I mean, it's fucking Anthrax. It's fucking Machine Head. I mean, and they're walking from tours because of. And let me tell you another thing. When fucking COVID hit, especially in America, when you own, you're a bus company. You own 20 buses. You need to put those buses out to make those bus payments. So when COVID hit and they said no one's allowed to do anything, everybody stay the fuck in their house, which I believe was the wrong thing. Because look at Sweden, they stayed open, they got herd immunity, and fucking they're they thrived, right? And the same thing with Florida over here. They said fuck you, we're not shutting down, and they thrived, right? But if you have tour buses and you can't put them on tour, so what happened here over the pandemic is the government came and seized probably 500 tour buses from companies that couldn't pay their mark on the buses. And so now you have, hundreds of buses sitting somewhere that are just product of the fucking government now. So now you've got guys trying to start bus companies, get bus companies. And if you don't get a tour bus 8, 9, 10 months in advance, you will not get a bus. I mean, I just reserved 2 tour buses just now for May next year. May, a year from now. And the exact words to this guy were, "You got my last 2 buses." I mean, that's exactly what he fucking said to me. "You just got my last 2 buses." And now what managers are doing, I mean, what I do, I have 1 or 2 secret companies of guys who own 5, 6, 7 buses, which isn't a lot. And I don't tell other managers who they are. I won't even tell the bands who the company is, because then they'll tell another band, and that band will start using that company. So it's a very strange environment now coming out of COVID when it comes to heavy metal and trying to make a living. Like, if you want to get in this game and you're young, and you're 20 years old and you're listening to this and you want to be in a metal band, punk band, psychobilly band, goth band, and you want to start, just know that you need to have some side hustles.
Definitely.
End of story. End of story. It used to be back in the day, I'm committing everything to my music. You can't do it now. It's not going to happen unless you got a label that's got a ton of money to throw behind you. And I feel sorry. For the younger guys that are coming up right now, and it's actually why I take a lot of younger bands out on tour with me to give them a shot, because I want to be the guy to give these bands a shot. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I saw all the huge touring lineups which you did in the past, Cradle of Filth, DevilDriver, with Ginger also. I don't know, and also some smaller bands. All Hail Yeti, for example. They were also touring here in Europe, and I know the European manager for All Hail Yeti, he said all the same. It's crazy and ridiculous, and now I try to get the bridge when it comes to the new record, because what I like, one vinyl record said goodbye, is that your old bass player is back in the band, and was he also a part of the songwriting process when you wrote the second part of dealing?
No, he wasn't. But I mean, usually you talk about guys leaving bands, right? But this guy came back after 12 years, and everyone needs to know he was the key writer on the first 5 records. So he came back after 12 years. He got his shit together. He had to get his shit together. He had some alcohol problems and some things. Like, I'm a very professional person. Like, I'm just not going to put up with, it's not rock and roll shenanigans, right? It's not fucking sex, drugs, and rock and roll anymore. It's show up on time, be professional, and do your fucking job, right? Having John Miller back in the band is absolutely one of the most incredible things that's ever happened to this lineup. Not only is he a great writer, probably one of the best writers I've ever worked with, but on stage, he's a complete monster. And so, having him back is a blessing. We had a 5-hour conversation, him and I, that actually ended in a couple tears, him and I, because I was closest with him out of the whole original lineup. I was closest with him. So now I have 3 of the 5 original members, which, I mean, after 22 years, I mean, I don't, even Metallica has had member changes, you know what I mean? So for me, I think that's pretty badass to have 3 of the original members. And then my drummer that just parted ways, the only reason he parted ways was because of us. Actually, he had a methamphetamine problem. He had a drug problem. He had to go to rehab. He got himself sober. And then that rehab asked him to stay back and help people get sober, help people with their lives, change their lives around. And he decided to stay on and work for that rehab center instead of going on tour, which I fucking applauded. I mean, I told him how proud I was of him and how much I fucking love him. And how much I love him, and he's a great guy, and now he's helping people get sober. So that's why otherwise he would have still been in the band. He's a great drummer, So it's just been an incredible run, And the thing about Dealing with Demons 1 and 2, to get back to the topic, is that people have really loved these records. I mean, Dealing with Demons 1 was number 3 in the country over the year, behind Lamb of God and Testament, DevilDriver, in the middle of a pandemic in 2020. I was so grateful and humbled and appreciative for that. Like, I was so fucking humbled by that. And then Dealing with Demons 2, and you can probably you'll probably agree with me here, but when a band tries to put out a double record, most of the time the second record is just full of B-sides and leftovers. Definitely. And we didn't want that. So we wrote 30, 40 songs more than what we even ended up recording and to demo. And we sat down and listened to everything, and whatever really fit we put in. And this is why the records are so short. This is why Dealing with Demons 1 and 2 are like 36, 38 minutes long, because Dealing with Demons 1 and 2 are meant to be listened to back to back. It's a scenario. It's a subject matter. You listen to these records in its entirety. It's like an hour and 10 minutes to listen to both records. And then you get exactly kind of what I'm trying to say, which is essentially just that, dealing with demons. We each have them. We each have different demons that haunt us, and we need to learn to face those things. So either it's, wow, I punched my best friend last night because I was drunk, I better get sober, or wow, I keep showing up late for work, I better not stay up late anymore. Like, everybody's got demons, and we just need to learn to face them. And I had a lot to get off of my chest. I knew that I had to do a double record before I walked away from my career. So here it is. B, I had so many songs written for this thing, man, that it was like, how, with this bulk of material, how can I do one record? And if I do, it's going to be an hour and 30 minutes long. And I will never do that to the consumer of music, because it gets for me, after 42 minutes, I'm completely bored. So, but that's ADD and ADHD coming at you strong. So, I'm just, what I'm hearing back now, and I've only started to hear it because I've just started to do interviews for the record in the last couple of weeks, is just like, 10 out of 10. I mean, I believe the guy from Metal Hammer, Germany, the other day said that, I've been a DevilDriver fan for a long. This is the best record you guys have ever done. Where if that doesn't humble you after your 10th record, fucking quit and get out of the business. Do you know what I mean? So, so man, I mean, the universe has rewarded me with life after COVID. Universe has rewarded me with a wonderful family, wife and children, but also rewarded me with a very long, illustrious career at this point, because I've been in it since 93, 94. And I just feel, I feel grateful and humbled every day that I get to play music. And the thing is like I said, I'm still in love with the tour bus showing up. I'm in love with going on stage. That's my favorite thing. I really do enjoy writing songs and recording. Interviews, not so much, but it's only because I'm so private of a person. I mean, I gotta say, I don't know in the business who's more private than me. It is actually, I do have Wi-Fi problems up here at our ranch, but it is one of the reasons I don't even do a lot of video, is because it's like, I want you to listen to my voice, not concentrate on if my beard is long or not, or my, or my fucking T-shirt I'm wearing, or what's in the background. Let's talk music and just hear my voice. And it can be terribly hard on my wife and my manager that I am so private, because of course in this business, you can't be private. You have to speak. You have to go to events. And I'm the guy I'm not going to your Grammy after party. I'm not coming to your Christmas party. I'm not hanging out backstage with 20 people. I'm very private. I don't do well in a group of people. I think I don't do well in a group of people because I'm an empath, and I smell the bullshit a mile away. I hate small talk. So how's the weather? It's like, fuck off, man. Sure. So I try to balance those things, right? And I think what you're going to get from me is, I'm Italian, I'm a Freemason. You're just not going to get it any straighter than from me. I'm going to just give it to you straight. And I think Dealing with Demons 1 and 2 lyrically is really giving it to you straight. If you listen to I Have No Pity.
Oh, yeah. The first song.
If you listen to I Have No Pity, I Have No Pity is actually about you. It's about me. It's about anyone who keeps stepping in the same mud and can't deviate their path. That's who I have no pity for. And that's another demon that people deal with. It's like, okay, dude, you have a violent relationship with your girlfriend because she's violent. Why do you keep going back? Quit calling me. This is your fourth call now to tell me that you guys just had a fight. You keep stepping in the same fucking mud. I have no pity for you, right? Blood is Life, which is the single we just released. That's very, very much about coming to grips with your humanity and this relationship broken, which is the next video, the next song that we're going to release is about the relationship with the spiritual side that you should have, right? I meditate, I do yoga, I follow Sadhguru, and there has been a spiritual, and I'm not talking organized religion. I'm talking spiritual. Yeah. There's been a spiritual disconnection with humans, I think, ever since the internet came out, to be honest with you. So, and that's having a huge impact on humanity and on the way things are going in the world, wars, killings, this and that. And so this relationship broken is literally about the spiritual side of humanity and humans trying to learn to reconnect because it's disconnected so hard. So yeah, probably a little deeper than most metal bands talking about fucking dragons. I mean, I've never seen a fucking dragon, so I can't really write about a dragon. You know, I've never been in a Viking war. I can't write. Yeah. I can't write about that. You know, but what I can write about is the human existence that I've experienced. And you know, again, I'm not 20 years old. I'm in my fucking 50s, so I've experienced a lot, and I think I've got a lot to say. You know,
definitely, and that's why I'm also relating to the songs of DevilDriver, because I'm no offense against Blind Guardian or Sabaton singing about dragons or war actually, but it's something where I can't relate to, people can't relate to. Wish them all the best for this. And I see, unfortunately, our time is running out. Usually we have one question left, but I don't want to, how do you say?
I'm actually showing we have 5 minutes left. So we got 5 minutes. Anastasia's watching the clock. She'll tell me when I got 1 more minute.
Perfect. Then I want to add, when it comes to your new record, I can, let me say, agree with the German Metal Hammer editor. That's one of your best records, actually, and it reminds me of what you did with Dealing with Demons 1, and also a little bit of Winter Kills, but I got the black metalish flavor from your debut records. I hope I said right, that you can a little bit understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, here's the thing with me, right? And I gotta say this again. I come from a punk rock, psychobilly, rockabilly, goth, alt, roots, blues roots background. So when I first started to get turned on to, you know, Venom, Emperor, I could go on for days, right? I fell in love with that music. So I fall in love with anything that's vicious, visceral, volatile, and real. And the only reason I found heavy metal is because I was listening to a tape someone gave me of the Crumbsuckers, which is a hardcore band, for those who don't know. And on the other side was this band, Motorhead. And I found Motorhead. I thought they were a punk rock band. Then I saw pictures of them. Fuck no, they were wearing bullet belts. They had long hair. And it's like, I started to get into heavy metal. I mean, of course, I'd listen to stuff, you know, Ozzy on the radio, what have you, right? But that's what made me switch fucking gears. And other than that, I was a punk rock kid with fucking Doc Martens up to my fucking knees, and you know, mohawks and shaved head, and you know what I mean. So I think you hear all of those influences. I mean, the thing that needs to be said about DevilDriver is we've never been held to the fire by our brand. And I could name 7 bands out right now that are, big heavy metal bands, and they have to stay true to their brand, like Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
They can't release new Coke. If they release new Coke, all the stock shareholders are going to leave.
Sabaton,
right?
Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I'm not well versed in Sabaton's music. I've run into them a couple times at festivals, and they seem like nice guys, but I couldn't comment on their music, and then Blind Guardian, they're power metal, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not 100% a power metal fan. High vocals. I've never been a fan of. I'm not an Iron Maiden fan. I'm an AC/DC fan. I'm a Glenn Danzig fan because I like low vocals, and that's always been my thing, right? And that's not to say that it's not to say that it's not great music. It's just that I never picked up on that. Here's the thing about DevilDriver. We are allowed to do whatever we want, and I really thank the fans for that. I mean, if any other band would have released the song Wishing off of Dealing with Demons 1, which was a total homage to Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, my goth roots, they would have been fucking crucified.
Yes. Literally.
I mean, fans would have left, magazines would have wrote horrible shit. Instead, our fans were like, A, we love it. B, we want more. Magazines were like 10 out of 10 because they know that our influences are not just metal. And I'll say this, if you're a painter and you know that you paint with orange and black and it's going to sell millions and you keep painting with orange and black, you're not much of an artist. Right? So we never paint our music to fit our fans. We do what we do inside of what we do. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, fuck off. If it fails, it fails. If it doesn't fail, it doesn't fail. Just so happens Dealing with Demons 1 and 2, people are giving it 10 out of 10s. And I mean, when you survive an illness that almost takes you away from your family and children, and you release records around this time, and it comes back to you that people are absolutely loving the art that you make, I am so appreciative, man. I'm humbled, man. I mean, I wish I could shake the hands of every fucking fan that's ever listened to a song, bought a record, bought a t-shirt, and kept me alive in this career, because I feel so grateful. And I think that's lost now. There's a lot of ego in this business. And I've got to wrap it up here in about 5 seconds. The last thing I'll say here is, in my business, and this is why I'm so personal and private, in my business, there's a lot of ego. Most singers, 90% of them, have an ego where you wouldn't even want to go to fucking dinner with them. Okay. And, or hang out backstage, especially. Right. And I smell the bullshit a mile away. I stay way away from it. It is why me and Randy from Lamb of God are good friends. It is why we surf together. I mean, not only that, we're both old punk rockers. And when we're together, we don't talk about fucking music. We surf, we hang out, whatever. The reason is because he's so down to earth. He has no fucking ego, man. If you give him the microphone, there's the ego. If you give me the microphone, get the fuck out of my way, there's the ego. But the minute I hand the microphone to my assistant and I leave the stage, fuck, I'm back to my blue collar roots, down to earth. Sure, hey, can I help you? You need your tire changed? Give me a call. I'll come over. And I think that attitude is lost on a lot of people in heavy metal, a lot of people in music in general. The music thing seems to create an ego thing, and I've never fallen into it, and I never will.
Ja, leider ist unser Interview abrupt abgebrochen. Liegt daran, dass man bei Zoom nur 40 Minuten aufnehmen kann. Nichtsdestotrotz, finde ich, war das doch ein starkes Interview mit sehr, sehr vielen Inhalten, abseits von blanker Musik. Man hat so ein bisschen den Privatmann Dez Fafara kennengelernt, auch so sein Mindset und alles, was ich immer sehr, sehr interessant finde bei Musikern, auch die Dinge, die er mit an die Hand gegeben hat, gerade an aufstrebende und junge Künstler. Was ich an dieser Stelle nur noch sagen kann, ist Dealing with Demons Teil 2 kommt am 12. Mai raus. Holt es euch am besten physisch als Vinylversion oder CD-Version. In dem Sinne, schreibt mir mal eure Meinung zu Dez, DevilDriver, der neuen Platte bzw. den Singles. Oder auch, wie ihr das Video fandet, das Gespräch besser gesagt mit Dez, unten in die Kommentare. Das soll es auch heute hier gewesen sein. Vielen lieben Dank, dass ihr hier zugeschaltet habt. In dem Sinne, gehabt euch wohl, bis zum nächsten Mal und ciao, ciao.
bit passion, for the passion of music.